And right above the star that we named and picked out, two bright lights, it powered up out of nowhere, and they were together right beside each other. They powered up, they traveled down to Rigel, the star that we named, and they faded away.
And then I look up at Orion, and then I look away, and Orion was like directly above my head. And I look at it, I look away, and then I see Orion here. I was like, hold on. There's like two Orions in the sky. What the heck? And as soon as in my mind I said, hold on, wait a minute, what the heck? I turned and I looked back at the other Orion, and one was Orion and one wasn't. I remember telling you about it, and this is years ago, telling you, and I was kind of scared to tell you because it's silly. Like I'm seeing these things, you know, they come to me or whatever, and we go outside and I raise my hands and I pray and I ask for God to show us and to show you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you saw like a little blink, or at least you said you did.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I think I saw one. It was just like the little spot, you know, the little out the corner of your eye, you see one light up. You're like, oh, I saw one as soon as you prayed. And it was like, okay. It was like just enough for the time, but it was years ago. But then recently, after your, you know, double dip in the awakening and going deeper, we were just laying in the backyard on a cool January night, something like that. I think it was January. You wanna share that, like, from your?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So we were really just like blissed out. I was still super high on the Holy Spirit from my transformation, my healing, and I still am. But like we were just laying out in the cool, in the dark, looking at the stars. And I think we were talking about experiences and seeing stuff. And I was like, well, let's just try to manifest one now. Let's see if we can make it happen. And so we stirred up our emotion. We were so grateful and showing gratitude, and just prayed to God that if our angels and our helpers are up there, if he would allow us to see them, we would be totally grateful. And if not, we're still totally grateful. Like just staying in that mindset of gratitude. And, you know, I don't need it. I don't need a sign to believe, but it would be really cool if you could show us if they're up there. And we just started praying and kind of praying in tongues, and
we picked where we wanted to.
Yeah, we picked where we wanted it, and we picked near Rigel, which is a star in the Orion constellation. And so we just started focusing our minds and our eyes towards that area and praying and staying in that attitude of gratitude. And right above the star that we named and picked out, two bright lights, it powered up out of nowhere, and they were together right beside each other. They powered up, they traveled down to Rigel, the star that we named, and they faded away. Like, it wasn't like a shooting star. I don't know how to describe it other than the way I just did, but that it was an incredible manifestation that we prayed and opened our hearts, and it happened. We saw it. And we were there together. So that was cool too, that it was not like, oh, I think I'm making things up, I think I'm going crazy. Like, because we both saw the exact same thing happen at the exact same time. And it was just an incredible experience that we shared, and really uplifting, and increased the gratitude, increased the feelings of pleasantness. And
that was a cool experience. And it was cool because like that was like one of the first big ones that I had. Was years ago driving the truck, and I would try to hurry up and get my truck loaded for work early and leave the warehouse. Like, I think one day I left the warehouse at like 3:30 a.m. And then it takes about an hour to get to Pensacola, and I was going east. And so I stopped at the there's a hill right there in Milton, right over the water, with this gas station, and you can overlook the lake there and stuff. And and it's dark. There wasn't open yet. So I'd get there and there was nobody there, and I'm just out, and there's something about it with the coolness of the day or the coolness of the night that just adds this extra layer, of just awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
And the wind was blowing, and it was cool, and I was just looking up and praying and naming all the constellations that I knew, because I'm like trying to learn the stars and the planets and constellations. Still am. But I'd look at Orion, it's Betelgeuse, there's Mars, there's Vega, there's the Pleiades, there's that, and there's little things that I know, and I'm just worshiping God, like talking to God. I had just wrote the song Awesome God, me and Anthony Cummins, and I was singing it to the Lord as I'm naming it. My God is an awesome God. Whoa. You're an awesome God, we lift you up. You're an awesome God, we lift you up. We lift you up. And I'm just looking awe and wonder like a little kid expecting to see. And then I look up at Orion, and then I look away, and Orion was like directly above my head. And I look at it, I look away, and then I see Orion here. I was like, hold on. There's like 2 Orions in the sky. What the heck? And as soon as in my mind I said, hold on, wait a minute, what the heck? I turned and I looked back at the other Orion, and one was Orion and one wasn't. One had 2 other stars like lined up with Orion's belt, but just below it. So they were on both sides of Rigel, and they were like stationary. I said, that's not Orion, because that is. And all of a sudden they lit up even brighter the moment I like gave the acknowledgement, like, hey, something, they got really big, bright, powered up, and then just took off flying real slow into Orion, kind of zigzagging just a little bit. And I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? This is amazing. I'm trying to like fumble for my phone. I'm trying to film it, and then I'm looking away, and then it's gone. As soon as it starts, it's over.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so cool because that was like one of my first like really awesome encounters. And then how it was like the same space, and it was two lights that were positioned with Rigel or Rigel or whatever, that star.
Yeah.
And how, because I think I mentioned to you about it, like there's something about like we get to charge the atmosphere with these stories. So maybe people listening right now, they're like, oh,
yeah,
some people they may be skeptic and like, oh, he's lying, man, it could have been this. Cool. But other people are like, oh man, I want to see that. That'd be amazing. Or they have seen it or something similar. So it's lighting a different fire. So the atmosphere like in them and around them is being charged by hearing a story and reliving it or hearing it for the first time and building expectation and stuff. So we were doing that as I was like sharing with you. Like, I remember my first looking up at this star, and you're like, let's try to do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, where do you want to focus? Because there was other stars that even call out to us and stuff. It's different, your zodiac sign. Why don't we look there? Because maybe that's where you should look. If that's where you're from, maybe you should look. But you said, let's focus here, and we did, and we asked from that place, and then flew in.
Yeah, it was incredible.